And you had mentioned something that your father said just before he took his own life when you confronted him.
The only way, the last thing my dad said to me is that my mother couldn't handle any more embarrassment. Now, you tell me how that's a victim's problem. It's not, right?
No.
No.
But
So-
everybody used their rationale to still think they were good. And your father, you said, became a scion of the community and was
He
the
was,
good guy,
yeah.
and he was giving
He
and
was, yes,
in
absolutely.
his deeds. And God
Absolutely.
said, you will not be measured in your
Absolutely.
deeds. And Jesus said, the truth is the way and the
Absolutely.
life. And this is the final truth here that will bind humanity. One of the movements that's looking to tip this over has been the Q movement, the trafficking task force that was put forward by under the Trump administration, and that's why the FBI took your call. We're in Canada,
Yeah.
but this is a global problem. This is
a global
crossing
problem.
borders. This is everywhere, and about a year ago, is it now? Maybe a little less. I read a report that a number of the cartels in Latin America publicly, I think in their newspapers, came out and apologized for their role in human trafficking. They were at the front lines and they saw the writing on the wall. If Maxwell can go down, if Clinton can be named, if the suspicion of Obama is becoming real chatter and Michelle is probably Michael, is now, you're really under a rock if you're not seeing this stuff. Even the cartel bosses had to back away. I think they have more not going to church type faith than we do here in Canada, where we've been told God doesn't exist and you're not allowed to talk about it.
Yeah.
So this turning has happened. Canada, North America is very asleep at the switch, but it's hitting us at all angles, and now's the time. And if we get arguing about borders, if we get arguing about resources, if we get arguing about politics, we will find no solutions as humanity. This is the solution. We have to stop this. And surrender. It's surrender time. It's confess time. It's fall on your sword time if that's what you're going to do. Don't take your own life, because you're still going to see everything. You're still going to feel everything, and it won't make it go away. You have a soul. And if you don't and you've expunged, just drop.
Yeah.
Just drop. It's not going to be fun anymore. Go.
Well,
that's where I'm at right now.
We have to, as a mother, I can't turn a blind eye to what's going on. I don't know about you as a father, but as a mother, I do not want my grandchildren or my great-grandchildren or my great-great-grandchildren to ever know what pedophilia was. And I'll do anything to stop it. And if that means outing people who did things they shouldn't have done, if you don't want to be outed, you shouldn't have done it.
Oh, and the public, those blind eyes, I'm going to call out the hockey parents that know something happened to their kid because they wanted them to stay on that team because they were on track to become Triple H or whatever AAA hockey they were playing. I played soccer in Canada, and it was more of an ethnic community where this was shunned and frowned. We didn't have much of it, although my mother was a victim and she still won't name who it was. Apparently I'd know them. And she confessed to me over the past couple of years, seeing what this world is really made of at the top levels, because she saw the reports. She saw the arrests. Everybody saw the arrests at Disney. 0 arrests every year, and all of a sudden 160. It wasn't just a one-off. It was a syndicate, a criminal syndicate. It's the biggest industry in the world, human trafficking. And it's all behind the curtains, and it's all laundered money that comes back to guys who dress up in suits and pretend they're your dad.
Well, and I think that it's time for everybody to just like get a little uncomfortable with the topic. Maybe if we get a little uncomfortable with the topic, we can.
It's because everybody is, but we have to push through that discomfort, because having this conversation now, we'll see people coming out in handcuffs, confessing, and if they have to do 25 years, there's healing for this. There's a way to stop this mental infection. There's a way to give the sense of worth that your dad was looking for. He lived in such shame that he took his own life.
He did.
And it was not in those acts that he was ever going to do it. It was in confessing and doing his time, doing his penance, and really understanding so that he might have a chance at stopping and knowing if he couldn't, not letting himself near.
Well, believe it or not, man, the look in the guy's eyes when he admitted it, that broke my soul. I had an illusion in front of me where I couldn't even see.
And how you repressed your memories, right? That's how you repressed
Well, yeah, because
But Dad's so good, Dad's so good.
God wanted to protect my heart. Do you know how painful that is to a little girl? That's fucking disgusting, man.
I can only imagine.
That is fucking disgusting. So God put me inside of this little cage and he said, I won't make you remember anything more than what you fucking need to when it comes to your father, or it'll kill you. And it almost fucking did. When he shot himself, I almost died too. And every person that sees this, that knows me, thinks right now that I'm dead. Because I haven't seen them for 900 fucking days. Because they chose to be bystanders.
And another reason we don't want you to fall on the sword. Come forward, do what you need to do to stop it, but don't fall on the sword. He wanted to save your mother embarrassment, but he crushed the family because for whatever it was, he kept it up in some fashion.
Well,
he was
not only
able
that,
through it to demonstrate some sort of...
Not only that, there's a whole family behind that. You know, my dad's brother, one of my cousins has raped me. Lots of my mom's family did shit like that too. It's rampant in communities where people ignore it because it makes them uncomfortable. Oh, that's so-and-so's kid. That's not my problem. It is your problem because your kid's going to grow up and consume pornography and booze and drugs. So your kid, even though your kid isn't that kid that's having it done to them, is going to contribute to doing it to somebody else at some point because you looked the other way and said it's not my problem.
This is righteous anger you're expressing, but right after denial comes anger. We're at the moment now, there's not a person on the planet that can deny that this is the mark. This is the key issue. This is the cult. This is how they maintain their order, their disgusting pedophilic order. It's industrial scale. You're talking about the family stuff, and you know that movie Sound of Freedom came out, and
I watched it.
And that was only one little snippet of what's going on around the world, and
right.
You know I've heard it resonate around the world what it opened people's eyes to. Sound of Freedom was a minuscule example of the biggest industry in the world, and we spoke of Disney earlier, and the infection starts there.
You think about what we're consuming. I mean, these kids that they utilized for Disney, for instance, you know, the Barney show and all that, the shows that our kids watched. Those kids, you look at them, they're standing up now and saying, this person did this to me, this person did that to me. We consumed this media with smiles on our faces, happy and asleep. While these kids went through what? So that we could be happy and asleep? The fuck is wrong with us? Something is seriously wrong with us. No?
It is, but it's a trick on our human minds that want to not have that conversation, not want to face. But this is the critical issue of this moment in history where a lot of people are feeling an awakening, are feeling that it's really, really wrong, and this is it. This is the time where it all gets called out. And we got to the suicide part of the pain of your family. That's why I'm calling on all the pedophiles to confess, to come forward and plead for mercy. And if they can do that, and I want to give some bright light here, we're getting really dark. They've lost. We were never supposed to know the secret. But before we can go into the bright stuff, I need to make one other point. You know, a lot of people's minds, because you're a woman, are going to girls. It happens to boys too, very, very frequently, and they're even more reluctant than the girls to come forward because of the bigger stigma that came associated with that. And you know, the boys have to brave up too and start calling out their molesters.
They absolutely do.
Right,
They absolutely do.
and this is how they gain their worth back and their manhood back.
I think we have to take into consideration when we're asking our boys to come forward, because I am a mother.
Yeah.
When we're asking our boys to come forward, we have to help them to understand that a patriarchal system helped them to believe that these things were okay if it was a woman. A lot of those boys were under this belief that it was a woman who did that to me, so it's not so bad. But then they grow up and they realize that no, that really wasn't right. You really didn't have the right
my
to do
friend
that.
had several of his mother's friends in an upscale Toronto community do this to him, and he confessed to me, and he went to a therapy session, and he took his own life 2 days later. Couldn't face it.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
And I know I felt that pain, and he talked to me, and it changed him completely. It changed his sexualization. It changed his relationship with women. It hurt him so badly, but it was not something he could tell anyone. He told me because of the trust we had.
It literally changes the molecular structure of the cells in your brain. It changes your DNA. When somebody does something like that to you, it changes.
But we can repair, we can heal.
We can, absolutely.
And
if
this
we
is
come
the beginning of
together
that.
as a unified front, if
Yeah.
we put our differences aside, no matter what they are, political,
And
religious,
if you think,
financial.
and if someone out there thinks it's not their problem, it most certainly is. Guess what? I'm going to take us a little bit darker before we go to some really bright spots about what's happening right now. You know, this is the tag, this is the mark, this is the thing that changes, like you said, your DNA, your mind, the structure of your mind, and points you in the wrong direction, or some of you, and makes the others of you that had to fight through it and have come to good and have healed. Sorry for the road you had to travel. It's on an industrial scale. There's a drug called adrenochrome.
Can you tell me about that?